I'm Nick Filardi.
I'm Jason Thielbach.
Welcome to the world's second finest podcast. Today, we're talking Batbooks that came out January 1996. It's a new year, Jason, and it's the 90s, which means we have no problems at all.
Not at all. We solved everything. Bill Clinton has no controversy and never will.
We have Amazon affiliate links in the description and show notes, not for anything Bill Clinton related, but for the books that we're talking about. Although I don't think anything's collected quite yet for Shadow of the Bat. We are right around the corner from Batman Contagion, which is going to be a multi-part thing. Those are going to be thick sods because it's not only the books that we cover, Batman, Shadow, and Detective, it's also Robin, Azrael, and Catwoman. So we're going to have to shuffle it up for that episode next.
But they gave up on Huntress, which
there's no Huntress series.
Huntress.
They don't care. DC doesn't care if we care about Huntress.
Yeah, you know what, DC? I think maybe possibly I was just starting to consider to care about Huntress, and now she's not there.
Well, there's a Rick Burchett Huntress mini right around the corner. So maybe finally, we can care about Huntress. There's also this podcast on youtube.com/Nickfil with a bunch of art. I have been a little late on it, though, because the weather's starting to get nice and Shannon and I will hike and then I'll be like, oh shit, the pod. And then I'll upload it and then I'll close the window without it uploading all the way. And then I'll open it like a day later and I'll be like, oh shit, it's only 57%. I thought it was done. So look, the YouTube clips of the show, they come out eventually. Yeah.
Listen, when you're in the kitchen, sometimes things get busy. There's a lunch rush. You just
exactly. Heard, chef. Heard.
Yeah.
Batman 527. Kelly Jones is back this month. It's written by Doug Munch with art by Kelly Jones and John Beatty on inks. Colors by Greg Wright. Seps by Android Images. Todd Klein on letters. Edited by Denny O'Neil. It's the Face Schism. We open with Batman stopping a home invasion. He does that. Meanwhile, Two-Face breaks out of Arkham by impersonating one of the guards. He goes back to Harvey Dent's apartment, but the locks have been changed. He busts through the door, kicking off the hinges, killing the current occupant. Two-Face kicks in some drywall and pulls out some files from his days as district attorney. He wants to tie up some loose ends, cases where he knew they were guilty, but he couldn't prove it. Batman heard about the break-in on the police scanner, recognizes it as Two-Face's old address, and after finding a clue of an old piece of paper ripped up a little bit on the wall, drywall thing, he realizes that based on the thickness of the type of paper and the color of it, that it's an old DA case file.
I love that because that was such wasn't that even a joke by the 90s that all Batman needed was a hair and he could tell this is even before CSI
it was, but I for one am glad that Batman is doing actual detective work. That was kind of nice.
Yes.
Because lately he's been Robin, figure this out for me. Or back computer, solve the problem. So
yeah. Well, I just love the over detail of it though, because it's okay, this is Harvey Dent's old apartment. Clearly there was something hidden in here. You knew he used to be the DA. You were friends with him.
He's what could this paper mean?
Yeah. Geez, man, I don't know. I don't think you have to go into that much detail about the weight of it. This was made in a paper mill in Saskatchewan, Canada. All right.
I'm going to check it against all my paper mill samples.
Yeah, sure, man.
All right, dude. We flash back to Batman and Dent hashing it out on the roof. This is before he was Two-Face. Harvey wants Batman to go after these people that he has in these files. Batman's not super into it. We get a small Two-Face flashback describing the road thus far. Batman gets a copy of the files from Sarah Gordon, current commissioner. With the files, Batman puts together that Harvey's going to hit the circus after 3 of the carnies killed a guy and he could never prove it. Harvey's looking to put on his own perverse trial for what they did. Batman finds Harvey's footprints in the mud at the fairgrounds. He notices that one shoe is fairly new and the other one is scuffed to shit. So he's like, oh, it's got to be Two-Face. We're going after Two-Face. Batman gets attacked by the knife thrower and the strongman, 2 people who were involved in the murder. He dispatches them before being held at gunpoint by the 3rd man that Harvey is there to have a trial for and then kill. It's Lockhart, the ringleader. Two-Face draws a second gun on the group of Lockhart drawing the gun on Batman. So we're in a real Batman 2 guns standoff, the old Gotham standoff here.
Yeah, I guess honestly, like I guess if you're gonna have a Gotham like standoff, like, and you're gonna have guns pointing at each other, it would have to include Batman.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's the Gotham standoff. Batman with a batarang, 2 other people with guns, and they're just pointing them at everybody.
Like a Gotham burrito is just a burrito that Batman hands to you. It's like it's the only way to get a true Gotham burrito. Bat-rito? Yeah. It's the only thing he knows how to make.
Alfred really makes it. That's a complicated thing. Like he can't make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. He's like, no, burrito only. I was taught by my sensei.
Yeah, he likes the process of like the hand making of it.
That is true. That is true.
It suits.
As a complete aside, Colbert once described the process of making an old fashioned as part of the soothing nature of the drink. And I was like, it's kind of interesting. And I started thinking about it more and I was like, man, everybody's been making old fashions the same way forever. And it's like this rich connection to my ancestry. And then I was like, am I an alcoholic? Anyway, that's not the point. He says for Lockhart to freeze or his sideshow attraction's going to get it through both of his brains. He's holding up the Siamese twins and he's going to shoot them both in the head. They share a skull. They're connected at an eyeball. Meanwhile, Sarah Gordon gets offered a job as the mayor-elect's assistant. Up next, Two-Face Part 2, The Schism Face. Jason, what did you think of Batman 527?
I really dug it. I really did, honestly. It was a great, like, like you said, great to see Batman doing like detective work again instead of just like handing it to a teenager to be like, here, run it through a fucking computer or something. Right. Write my email for me. I don't know. I don't know how this crap works. But I love the deliberateness of, and I think we do kind of talk about it all the time with Kelly Jones of like knowing that like you're like, oh, if you're the writer, you're like, I have Kelly Jones. So like, I want to draw a Two-Face. There's monster villain check. I want to draw circus and circus sideshow freaks. Yeah. Check, because it's Kelly Jones. Like, this is where I want this stuff to take place. And it's like all at night. I was thinking that when
I was reading it, when it was like Harvey's old files. And I just assumed, like organized crime, mafia hits that were like unproven. Yeah. And he's like, we've got to go to the circus. And I was like, of fucking course we do.
Hell yeah, that's where you go. Yeah, you don't go to some like bookie,
Also, the machine that Batman is analyzing the shred of paper with looked a lot like the opening of the 90s Ninja Turtles show where Donatello does machines, and it's this giant machine that's like, I think it's making a cup of coffee or something like that, like over-engineered like monstrosity. Yeah. The machine reminded me of the same thing, and I just wanted to make mention because I was like, I can't tell if my brain is broken from my childhood or if that was like a legit connection that Kelly Jones was thinking about, because it is 1996 right now, so
maybe a bit of both. I would like to mention, though, only because I was thinking about it when we were brought up the circus, is that I think something that like I'll always love about Batman is that because he was created in the 30s, the late 20s, I forget if it was 29 or if it was 30, whatever. But he was created during a time when circuses were so much more popular in America.
Oh, yeah.
And there was so much, it's like, yeah, we're going to go to the circus. It's like, oh, which circus is in town? It's like you had multiple, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the 90s, like they were dying. Like they were absolutely dying. There was one left. No one wanted to see them. They were all treating their animals like it was an awful thing. Like it should have died way before it did.
Sure.
But like at least like the animal side of it, like, trapeze artist is another.
This is Doug Munch and Kelly Jones remembering fondly the circus from like the 70s. This is not 90s circus.
Yeah. No, I know. But like, I don't know. I just find that thing kind of funny. It's like how most people like even just a little bit younger than us have no idea what the save icon, like they just know it's the save icon.
It's the floppy disk. Yeah.
And like maybe this was once this represented but like you ask like a 15-year-old to click save, like the save button, be like, oh yeah, that button with the square thing in it, click. It's just like the circus. What the hell is I guess they go to the circus in this world. Like, fine.
Jason, like, well, life comes at you fast. Things change.
Yeah, they do.
Should we get into Shadow of the Bat 47?
Oh, yeah. Batman, Shadow of the Bat, number 47. Shadow of the Bat falls upon Cornelius Stirk, Part 2. We got Alan Grant as the writer, Tommy Lee Edwards, penciler, Ray McCarthy, inker, Pamela Rambo, colorist, Android Images, color separations, Bill Oakley, letterer, Brian Silfries, still killing it on the covers, as always, Jordan B. Gorfunkel, associate editor, Dennis O'Neill, big guy editor. We pick up where we last left off with a spooky, smart guy serial killer talk. Stirk is in disguise as the egghead writer that he killed and done ate his heart. Our boy loves himself some human hearts.
Yep.
So he decided he wanted a taste for the finer things in life. The egghead had an invite to the Penguins' election night party. Yay, more politics. All right.
Finally.
It's our favorite plot line of this whole book. So he figures there will be some big high society muckety-mucks there, and they must have some juicy, juicy hearts. As he stalks around the party taking notes, one of Penguin's goons asks him what the hell he's doing writing shit down. He explains he's a writer researching for a book, and he should be in it. And he leads this poor sap away before, clobbering on the back of the head and stealing his clothes and coming back out disguised as him. Because remember, Stirk has the weird hypno powers that he can look like whoever he wants to look like.
Yeah. I feel like the hypno powers, when it was like one guy alone in the cell with him, I was like, yeah, I buy it. But when it starts to be like he's at this party and he's shape shifted, I'm like, meh.
Yeah. Well, they kind of explained that a little bit. Meanwhile, Batman is exhausted. Everyone else is taken care of, but Stirk is still out there. And he knows he was disguised as the egghead, and that the dead egghead had an invite to the Penguins' party. Well, it just so happens that Bruce Wayne has an invite to the same party. It also just so happens that Batman always keeps a tux in the Batmobile. Of course you do, you rich bastard. Batman makes his way through the party, ignoring the mayor-elect while scoping out the scene for Stirk, which I really liked. Cornelius is scanning the room for his next kill, and he goes down the list and decides that the new mayor-elect's heart will make the most delicious treat. And there's a lovely little scene where the Gordons talk and appear to make up, and it's darkened by a jackass kicking the door in and telling them that he's the new commissioner by orders of Kroll, who still holds power for a few months. Kicks them right out of there. What a dick. Bruce deducts his way around the room, zeroing in on where Stirk is most likely to be, on the fringes, presenting a different disguise. Obviously, he knows he'll have changed it by now. And this is where like Bruce is like, oh, it doesn't work on like, you know,
a crowd
people.
Yeah.
So he'll be like on like the periphery of, you know,
right.
And just then he sees this goon just rush into the kitchen. This guy that was hanging around the periphery. The goon's name we learn is Rafferty, and we learn this when the chef Stirk is about to hack to death with a butcher's knife. Ask him what the hell he wants. It's a brutal way to go. That your coworker is just like, "What are you doing in here?" And then you see him hold up a knife, and you're like, "What's going on?" And then you're dead.
Yeah.
Stirk gasses up the joint, and by that I mean he turns on the gas range to fill the kitchen up with flammable gas. Just as Bruce steps into the kitchen, sees the dead body, he smells some gas. Penguin followed him in, being like, where the hell's this rich guy going? Bruce tackles him out of the way with a beautiful rich guy, get down, man, as the kitchen goes boom. Penguin's casino is ablaze now, and everyone's just getting the hell out of here. Bruce Wayne pulls the fire alarm. Stirk, still disguised as Penguin's goon, grabs the mayor-elect, and holy shit, Bruce just figured out Stirk must be going for the mayor. Well, the new mayor. And in the alley, though, in the back of the club, Grange, the new mayor, she ain't no dummy. She doesn't like what's going on here. And she gets a knife to the throat for it. Well, a knife held up to her throat, and she starts running up the fire escape. Stirk decides to drop his hypno facade to show his true face, which is like he's all pretty, craggly and stuff. And I'm like, a little bit of moisturizer would probably have helped.
Right. Yeah. We're reading a Two-Face story, and like Two-Face is more messed up than this dude. This dude just looks like, he's just like a little peely,
Yeah. It's like they got stuff for that, man. It's okay.
Yeah. We got a medication. Like, you'll be fine. Yeah. Go see your PCP.
Yeah. Dermatologist, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, though, Stirk, the madman, is enjoying this and chases her up the fire escape on top of this burning building while the firefighters below do what they do. Stirk catches up with Grange, and man, this guy just never shuts up, though, because he just keeps on just like talking while he's running, which is like that's a lot of lung capacity there.
Yeah. He's going up the fire escape, and he's like, so anyway. Oh my God, dude.
And then he raises the butcher's knife that he just killed the chef with, and when he's just about to strike, he gets a batarang to the hand and then kicked in his motherfucking chest. Mm-hmm. But Batman's exhausted, remember? He's moving a little bit too slowly. Stirk gets him with a whack in the head from a brick or a rock he had grabbed, and that lets him scramble up to Grange to use his powers to make himself look like her. And oh man, we have a classic scenario on our hands of the Who's Who. I don't know. Does it have a name? I'm not gonna.
Does it have a name? It is a classic scenario. I don't know if it has a name.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think I was hoping I'd come up with a good joke by now, but
all right. I'm gonna coin a name for this.
All right.
I was gonna say the double entendre, but I was like, is there a way to make it violent?
Well, I mean,
the violent entendre, but no, that doesn't work either. I don't know. You need double in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought I could come up with. I had something, Jason. It wasn't a full thing, but it was something.
Hey, listen, we're blue sky in here. All right, it's all right. All right.
Okay.
Now there are two mirror-like Granges, and Batman is just dead friggin' tired and tells both of them not to move. He's just like a exhausted parent with like rowdy, just like, oh God, like grabbing the like bridge of his nose and just like, Jesus Christ, just a second, just give me a second. The Stirk Grange, though, lunges for the butcher's knife, still on the ground. Grange kicks him straight in the face, and Batman quickly finishes the job. Batman thanks Grange, swoops down with the knock the fuck out Stirk on his way back to Arkham. Small addendum: while Penguin is standing outside his now burnt down casino, a firefighter remarks that he hopes he has fire insurance. And given the way Penguin's monocle popped off, I'm assuming not. Next issue, I don't know. There wasn't a stinger. That was Shadow of the Bat number 47. What'd you think about it?
I enjoyed it. Stirk's terrible. I hope we never see him again. But I like Tommy Lee Edwards, and that shot of Penguin popping the monocle is very funny. And I wonder if that was in the script or that was Tommy Lee Edwards doing his thing. I did like the which Mayor Grange is which. I kind of wish that we hung in that space a little longer, because that was like kind of the fun part of the thing. Like, I don't care about the kitchen explosion and the, like he's turning into a goon and he's murdering the cook. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't like, the fun part is the Mayor Grange thing. And then we get to see how Mayor Grange handles herself as a Gothamite before anything else.
Yeah.
Which was pretty great.
Yeah. I do agree that like the first half of the book probably could have been like 3 pages of like explanation, especially because it's a 2-parter, right. Because like, all right, like you already know Batman's on his way. You already know Stirk got out and is on his way to the party. Right. And you can explain that like really quickly.
Couple caption boxes, you're all good.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Edwards' artwork was definitely a absolute treat. Like there's just like there's just a great like almost like controlled messiness to it. It's kind of like
the way he colors himself too nowadays on his own work. There's also controlled messiness happening. You see like an extension of this from his early days where he's just doing pencils all the way to like his work now. His color makes me extremely jealous. Like I wish I could color like how he colors. There's something about it. I don't know if it's like, here's the thing though, too. He's not fast. Like he'll belabor a thing for a long time, especially nowadays. Which is why he does like a lot of cover stuff and he doesn't do a whole lot of interiors. He still does interiors, but not as many. And he probably has a ton of lead time for it. But I think he like really sits with those pages in a way that like I am jealous of, because I don't have the luxury usually to sit with pages. Like I usually have to crank them out and get them to the printer, Yeah. But man, his colors, beautiful work, and an extension of his controlled sloppiness that's happening on the page as well. It's
like the inks want to explode. It feels like the inks want to explode out. Like there's always a great energy to it.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Mike Mignola, just a touch, especially early Mignola. I wonder if he was looking at early Mignola's work when he was like getting into comics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's obviously like a little more detailed than Mignola. Mignola like really, really simplifies, and he's kind of using some of the same shape language, but not necessarily like he's creating his own density on top of it, which is really fun, and looseness on top of it too.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a almost like in the same sort of like vein of like a Jean-Paul Leon, like
right,
like that kind of like yes, there's a heaviness to it, but it's not like blocky in the way that like Miller and Mignola are,
Sure.
And that's just like their style. Like I love that. Like blocky is great. Just to clarify for anyone listening.
Yeah, it's not heavy like John Romita Jr. It's it feels like it's either solid blacks or like the skinniest line weights, and that's like a Mignola thing.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope I remember this mental note to like, I should try to find some used John Romita Jr. Daredevil. Loved his Daredevil stuff.
You should definitely do that. You should.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, any John Romita Jr., but John Romita Daredevil first, like, is just like right there.
Top tier. God
damn.
You want to get into detective?
Oh yeah.
Detective Comics 694, written by Chuck Dixon, art by Staz Johnson and James Hodgkins, colors by the amazing Trish Mulville, steps by Android Images, letters by John Costanza, edits by Scott Peterson with Darren Vincenzo. Trish Mulville, again, knocks it out of the park. I think this is the best coloring this week, or this month of Bat Books. Something about these two issues she colored, it's bright but interesting the whole way through. There's a quality in here that I think is elusive even now because of the way that printing was back then and the way that the tools that she had access to. It's just a very unique look. But anyway, let's get into the issue. This is Violent Reactions. We pick up where we left off, and where we left off was not great for Batman and Robin. The Batmobile is falling from a drawbridge into the river below. When this new Batmobile hits the water, it turns from Batmobile into Batcraft. That's a hovercraft, but a Bat hovercraft. By inflating a platform underneath it. They're safe and boat away. Meanwhile, Andrew Howe gets appointed by Mayor Kroll to the police commissioner, displacing Sarah Gordon. He's all cocking and cocksure of himself is what I wrote. So that's what he's doing.
Oh, dude, I had in the shadow summary what was it, like Batman is friggin' exhausted. I stumbled for a second because I didn't notice that it auto corrected to frigid. And I'm like, he's frigid. So what does that mean?
So we got Andrew Howe, and he's cocking and cocksure of himself. And he takes the commissioner job, kicks everybody out, and then just as he takes the job, 3 people rush into his office. The guy who blew up the defoliant has gotten out of the GPD's net. Two-Face is out in the loose, and they might have a location for him now. And also, Poison Ivy just escaped Arkham with some hostages. Dude
I love that
has
moment.
His hand full.
Yeah, that was a great little moment. That was cute.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. That's
clearly overwhelmed, but Sarah is out of there, even as he begs to have a transition period. Batman and Robin put together the allergy guy's motives to kill all plants and not be allergic. Batman catches up with VZ, who we are calling Weed Whacker from here on out. That's the allergy guy.
Yep.
They called him Weed Whacker and another name, but they never really settled on anything, so we're just going to call him Weed Whacker because I like that name.
Yeah, isn't that what the press called him, right?
Yeah, there was another name too. I forget what it was, but they mentioned him a couple times because he's not really like a supervillain. He's just a guy with allergies, you know?
Yeah. So Weed Whacker's good enough. That's good enough.
Yeah. Before they can get to the Batmobile, before they can get out of the Batmobile to get Weed Whacker, they're run off the road by Ivy. Ivy is out. She's got a car. She's got her hostages in the back seat. The Batmobile gets run off the road by like a Civic hatchback. Ivy's about to kill Weed Whacker. When Batman and Robin finally jump in, they fight. Ivy tussles with Batman while Robin drives Weed Whacker and his chemical bus thing, tanker, into the pond in Gotham Central Park. All the chemicals disperse harmlessly in the water because that's how chemicals work. Mysterious man in a costume drags Weed Whacker out of the pond. We know him as Lockup. Ivy tries to seduce Batman, but he headbutts her, knocking her out. Meanwhile, Sarah Gordon accepts the job from Mayor-elect Grange on 4 conditions. She gets a raise. She keeps Bach as her assistant. You enlarge the major crime unit, and you appoint Jim as commissioner. Meanwhile, Andrew Howe, the new commissioner, has locked himself in his office and is drinking in darkness. Jason, what do you think of Detective Comics 694?
I thought it was honestly, I thought it was pretty great. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a great. I actually enjoyed the politics storyline because it was funny. They got it together
for the politics stuff.
Yeah, it was a really fun. And just like with the last issue, even though I wish I would have seen more stuff with Mayor like Grange getting in the mix, like the rooftop battle. That was great. And just the bonkers nature of everything, of like the Batmobile turning into like
the hovercraft. Yeah.
The knocking the thing into the pond.
Yep.
Like
Ivy driving around in a Honda Civic. Just very enjoyable.
And killing two people. Where are the hostages? Oh, they're died a while ago.
She didn't give a fuck.
Like just yada yada yada. Like yada yada over killing two people.
I forgot to mention that the hostages died off screen very unceremoniously.
That's right. They didn't even get a.
No. She like mentions it to Batman. She's like, I thought they'd live for an hour, but it turns out it's only 45. I don't know.
Anyway, let me seduce you. You in the mood?
Yeah. Anyway, let me seduce you. Oh man, Ivy. God bless her.
Her character gets better. Her character gets better.
I really loved these 2 issues. I might try to track them down in print because Trish Mulville did a fantastic job with them. I think it really elevated the work. And then it was such a bonkers freaking story about a guy who has severe allergies and then gets the attention of Poison Ivy because of it. Like I really loved it.
Yeah. And what more and what more of like a relatable, like indoor kid story?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. You don't have to have the like comics does this thing sometimes where they have like the nerdy guy stand-in happening in the world. And it's like, give me the allergic guy. Like that's something I'm like, yes, I empathize with him. I kind of back him in what he's doing a little bit. Yeah.
Cause I'm sure, cause I thankfully wasn't one of them, but like, it's like, there are people who grow up being like, I wish I could be outside, but the outside doesn't like me. So I'm going to stay indoors.
Right. And I bet those kids do want to carpet bomb all plant life.
Oh yeah. God.
Yeah. Also, man, Andrew Howe, the new commissioner, locked in his office, just drinking in darkness. Just so good. So good.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. That was
like, why would anyone ever want to be police commissioner of Gotham City?
Yeah. Or if you know that like you're not going to be there in 3 months, then just like, I don't know, tell someone else to do your job for you and be like, I'm going to go golfing.
Right.
What do I care?
Instead, drinking in his office inside, thinking he could, so cocksure he could rise to the occasion.
So cocksure.
We need to start talking about Batman and Robin adventures. Get out of this book.
We're going down a dark path on this book.
Yeah, we gotta get into Batman and Robin adventures, which is made for kids.
Yes. We definitely won't make any appropriate jokes about this.
Mm-hmm.
Batman and Robin Adventures, issue number 4. Ty Templeton is the writer. Rick Burkick is the artist. Linda Medley is the colorist. Richard Starkings and Comic Craft do the lettering. Darren Vincenzo does the associate editing. And Scott Peterson does the big guy editing. We are dropped in Media's Summer Gleason. She gives us, and in the city of Gotham, the rundown on what's going on inside the Gotham Zoo. So what's going on? Well, as Miss Gleason explains, Penguin has been holding hostages in the zoo for 4 hours, after causing a ruckus and scaring most of the people away. He's got 10 people in there, though, and he's made no demands. Police don't know what to do, and they can't get close or else a flock of birds will swoop in and attack. And the cops don't want to hurt the birds for fear of the hostage's safety. Bit more backstory. Penguin escaped from prison 3 weeks ago and has been knocking off banks and jewelry stores and daring daylight robberies ever since. All of this nice exposition is told over Batman swooping in with a little like gas mask thing on and snooping around. He's soon surrounded by a flock of blackbirds, throwing a gas grenade. And now that I know that's what the mask was for, okay. The birds dodge the smoke and land on the ground, surrounding him, but not doing anything to hurt him. They just follow him as he walks. He has this nice little weird trail of foreboding blackbirds just walking behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Batman makes his way to where he thinks the Penguin is, with the birds following, and they kind of point him to the southern hemisphere pavilion. 2 goons then happen upon him, and they're unsettled that the birds aren't pecking his eyes out. They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, what are these creepy birds doing? Which,
good goons, by the way. Good goons.
Great. Yeah, some very good goons. And also hard agree. Like, I love birds, but like if a flock of them were just kind of all standing on the ground staring up at me, I feel just a little weird.
Yeah, it's unsettling for sure.
Yeah. They're supposed to bring the bats to the bird, but Batman goads one goon into getting closer and beats the crap out of them in short order. And, he has a great line of him saying, don't point guns at me. I don't like it.
Yeah, you wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Yeah. But, and like a good citizen, he puts them in the trash. Right in the trash can, though. Batman, Bruce, baby, a public trash can in a zoo? You're just going to put a full semi-auto in there? Like, just at least take it a firing pin out. Like, come on.
Hey, man.
Like,
Gotham's in America. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Now the birds are kind of pissed at him, though, that he beat the crap out of the goons. So exit. Okay.
Yeah. I once had a dream that I was being chased through a high school, and I got it in my head that like I was going to look for a gun to defend myself, and I was upset that I couldn't find a gun in a high school.
Oh, God. Oh.
Anyway, continue.
What a country, man. What a country. So now the birds are kind of angry at Batman, so he's exit stage right because he beat the crap out of the goons. And yeah. Batman barrels through the doors of the South American pavilion of the zoo. Penguin's been expecting him, and it's why the birds didn't attack. He told them not to. Wait, told them not to? Oh, what's going on here, Mr. Cobblepot? Well, he explains in a wonderful villain rant that he got some chips off of Mad Hatter, but they can only control the lower creatures, which Mad Hatter thought was useless, but Penguin saw much more potential, being the clever bird that he is. And he's using the tech to control all of these birds. So why did he break into the zoo? He wants to free these poor creatures because he knows what it's like to be locked up in a cage, and it's no fun. And he wants these birdies to be free. And Batman's like, tropical birds on the loose in Gotham, they'll all die. You're out of your mind. And Batman says, well, no, not in Gotham. Like, back in their original habitat. Like, come on, I'm not like an idiot. Like, that's why I robbed all those banks. Like, so Penguin was robbing the banks to free the birds. Batman ain't buying it. But he demonstrates his control over the birds by telling a frickin' toucan to fly through a skylight. So maybe Penguin is a little bit nutty.
Yeah.
Batman is more worried about the hostages that Penguin is keeping caged. And he's like, well, come on, you're keeping these people like tied up. Where are they? And Penguin's like, oh, yeah, no. I just had my goons like scream and make a scene and like pretend like they were being taken hostages. There aren't any hostages. I didn't want the stress. And Batman's like, well, that was a mistake because that's the only reason I haven't started kicking your ass yet. So
I'm going to start kicking your ass.
Yeah. And he grabs both of the goons' guns who were standing behind them, pulling them down and pulling the guns out of their hands and smashing them in the face from behind.
Yep.
And Then Penguin sicks 2 bald eagles on Batman.
Yep.
Would Batman punch a... Oh, yep, there he goes. Just fucking
just wailing on a bald eagle.
Just clockwise.
It's
right in the goddamn beak. Zaps another one with something. I'm honestly not sure what. Then he grabs a bald eagle from behind his head and slams the symbol of America into a glass display case. Batman does not give a shit. He is
They're in danger, Jason.
He doesn't care, man. He's here to mess up some birds.
I would have taken a whole other page of Batman just fight pile driving a bald eagle. Like, give me that. Oh,
completely. Then Batman delivers this great line: "You claim to love these animals. Don't make me hurt any more of them."
and he'll do it. He's been waiting.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. It seems like you're having a pretty good time shooting up those birds. It's just so wild.
It's so stupid, and it's peak comics.
Oh, I know. I honestly didn't realize how much I'd be laughing reading it out, too. I mean, I just thought it was great when I read it.
When you say it out loud, you sound like a crazy person.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. I mean, I was smiling the whole time, but like, oh, man. Well, Penguin sees them more as soldiers, though, and him as the general. And with that, he releases a flock of blackbirds that the Batman's already met. And there's too many of them. Penguin's supervillain rants that they have Batman's likeness burned into their brains so they won't stop attacking. Oh no, what will our Cape Crusader do? He's beset upon all sides by hundreds of blackbirds, all pecking and clawing at him. He stumbles around looking for cover. He finds a swampy enclosure, remember, zoo, South American pavilion.
Sure.
And starts covering himself in mud as he's being pecked to death, and the birds start flying away. Penguin doesn't understand why. Well, we soon do, because Batman has done his best Clayface impersonation and is covered head to cape in mud. The birds don't recognize him anymore. One muddy punch, Penguin is taken care of. Little epilogue by Miss Summer Gleason. Not all the tropical birds were recovered. Apparently, the next day, Batman led the cops to Penguin's hideout and found the remains of an exotic animal smuggling operation. And the final shot is the toucan flying free in his home and the Penguin in his cell smiling at a free flying toucan. Yeah, that's I didn't write the stinger.
Here's the stinger. Next issue. When the Joker hears someone say, "The Riddler is Batman's most clever foe," you know someone's going to pay. The Batman and Robin Adventures, number 5, by Ty Templeton, Tim Harkins, Rick Burchett, Linda Medley, and Richard Starkings. See you then. Scott Peterson. So we'll get a Joker story. Should be fun.
Yeah, those are always fun. It's always... It seems like if I was a writer, especially on like an animated series style, Batman book, and I got a Joker story, I'd be like, oh, well, this like half writes itself.
Yeah, right.
Like I could just throw in a bunch
of Joker loose. Yeah, once you figure out a bit, and then the Joker just writes the rest of the issue.
Yeah. Like what's the zaniest, dumbest thing I can think of, and then I'll just get that in there.
Those Joker makes a movie, The Death of Batman issues out of Nightfall. Oh my God, so good, good.
Those were great, and those were I think. The thing that I will forever remember about that story, though, is that because wasn't that a Chuck Dixon written story? I
think so.
That was clearly at least a little bit an obvious jilted like.
Oh yeah. He's like I'm gonna stick it to these Hollywood executive types.
Well, also had like an awful experience where like got approached like, hey, you're a writer. You write scripts for comic books. Scripts for movies aren't that different. Why don't you try this stuff? And just got like ran through with just like the worst people and was just like my God, these people are awful.
Yeah, you could tell that he had an axe to grind, and the Joker was going to grind that axe.
That's it. Thank you. I'm like struggling to find the phrase. So what you think of this book?
Okay. These issues for Batman and Robin Adventures, outside of the initial Two-Face issues, meaning this one and the previous one, issue 3.
Yeah.
I kind of medium on. Him fist fighting bald eagles was very fun. Like, you could clip those out of context, post them to Reddit, and get some internet points for sure. Sure.
Yeah, just the straight the jab to the eagles.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's very, very good. But I feel like, I don't know, they haven't been hitting the bar that I'm normally used to. It feels like this Batman and Robin issue, and this is Ty Templeton writing. So this is the first issue he wrote. And it just felt a little wordy to me. It felt a little slow to get through. When Kelly Puckett was writing, like, there were issues with like barely any dialogue at all. Like, you could read it very, very quickly. And I felt like that was the strength of this series, that like in aiming in at kids and putting on the guardrails of like, okay, not a lot of text, like, let's do the best we can. It kind of made it stand out. And I feel like this was a tangible step backwards. I do think that Ty Templeton goes on to write many more issues. I do think he's going to get better. But for this one, not particularly my favorite.
That's fair. There was a lot of exposition, like just being by Summer Gleason, that like I noticed. I'm like, oh, I'm getting like a whole lot of info in the first 2 pages.
Yeah,
before I go into.
And then the last page was just like text heavy. And I'm like, I don't even know if we need this, you know?
Yeah. I think I enjoyed it a bit more than you did. It wasn't, but it definitely wasn't like one of my favorites. I can't not give it a whole lot of points for Batman just punching.
Right.
And suplexing.
This is the thing.
Bald
it's
eagle.
Like, the stuff around Batman just fighting exotic birds, like, I didn't care for. But Batman fighting exotic birds was excellent.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this, though, too. Like, I think it's very clear we have a much higher bar for this book than we do
for the regular mainline ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, like if this was in a regular mainline book, it would be like a kind of expected. Be like, oh, okay, fine.
Be like, oh, it's pretty good. Yeah. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, like, I think there's at least that, you know, it's like one of those like like some star athlete has like a mediocre game and like people say they're done, and it's just like, well, that's any other guy's like best game of their career, you know. So like
right.
You know, so it's up, you know. So
there was also
the exposition
where exposition should shrink a bit. There was also the bit where Batman like shot one of the birds with something, and I was like, what is happening in this panel? Like, there's Kirby crackle and everything. I'm like, is he shooting energy out of his hand? Like, what is this? So it also kind of felt like I know Rick Burchett is a good artist. I don't know if he got a little rushed or confused, but there was like a piece of storytelling missing in there where, like, I think he was supposed to be as the reader, my insinuation is that I think he was trying to hit it with a grappling hook, but like it doesn't illustrate that very well. So I don't know.
Okay.
Like Ty Templeton, I think that Rick Burchett is going to get better and better as he goes too. And so we're just seeing like the beginning of this kind of taking shape. But
yeah,
what was we're gonna try doing a new thing here. Brace yourselves.
Get your bracers on.
What was your favorite book of the month out of the 4?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Batman, with the main with Kelly Jones.
Yeah, same.
Because it's Kelly Jones. Because even though my love of eagle punching, apparently, a big love for eagle punching over here.
Fucking communist.
But the Kelly Jones drawing Batman in like a circus, like I think I could get like probably just like Kelly Jones freestyling like a story. You could probably tell him like, hey, just off the top of your head, draw a Batman in a circus story, and like you could get 12 issues out of that like easy.
Yeah.
He'd be like, and it would be great, and he'd be like, hell yeah. You know, but I mean, it was.
But it's rare that like the mainstream books eclipse Batman and Robin Adventures, or Batman Gotham Adventures, because like I would say that most of the 36 issue run that Puckett did, like those were the best books far and away.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that like we'll see with the this new big storyline that comes up,
sure.
the
Contagion.
tie-in.
Yeah.
But I think that like recently the mainline books have like since the whole Night Quest Fall thing ended, they've done really well at like sticking to the themes, because you had mentioned that they were like, oh well, now Batman's spooky stories, Detective Comics is more superhero-y stories, and like they were all
and
like
Shadows, like Batman adjacent stuff.
Yeah, and like I think that the individual books have done a lot better for that, because they work, because like like we were saying, like, oh, I have a Kelly Jones, so I'm not going to draw a bookie, I'm going to draw like a circus goes to. And if I have like, oh, I'm writing Detective Comics, it's like, well, I'm going to have a crap ton of gadgets in here, and I got to throw Poison Ivy in because I want to have the big name known villain, and and they just I think with a little bit of focus, they've gotten a slight leg up.
I think you're right. Jason, where can people get in touch with you?
They can still on Twitter for so far at King of Black Acid, and at World's Second Finest. It's World's Second with a 2. Nick just gave me an invite code for Blue Sky.
Yeah,
I'm King Black Acid over there, but I haven't done anything with it yet other than register. I'm still building that out. And where can they find you?
They can find me at linktree.com/Nickfil. It's got all the links for Discord, for my Twitch. I just recently colored a Etrigan Constantine thing on Twitch by Gavin Guidry. Great artist. A lot of fun coloring that. You can also find me on Blue Sky. The Blue Sky link is up there. I've been posting on Blue Sky a little more than X. Jason, should I call it X? Are we just no? Okay.
No.
I've been posting a little more on Blue Sky than Twitter, only because Elon's a shitbag. But
fuck that nerd.
It is what it is. So all my links are up there. Also, I will be at Asheville Beer City Comic Con at the end of September, which I'm just now realizing, if you just listen to that House of Mysteries ramble, you're realizing that I'm going to be at Asheville Beer City Comic Con on the last day of Beer City Comic Con. So you better put on the running shoes and get over here. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So you can catch me there. I'm going to be on a panel with Rico. We're going to talk about color, and I'm also going to be selling books. I actually pulled out I went through a lot of comps and pulled out. DC sends me a lot of hardcovers and stuff that like I'll have like a little story in, but like not a ton. I'm going to deep discount those things and try to move them. So if you're into picking up some hardcovers, they're going to be like $10 a pop, you know, just trying to get them out of my hair. So nice. Come to Beer City Comic Con.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening.